topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Mindset Marketing Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry. With your host, Marie Mason.
Hello, everybody. Oh, my gosh. Every time I hear that music, I always want to get pumped up and ready to go dancing. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Hi, Plinny. Welcome back. We missed you last week.
I missed you guys too. How are you, Mary?
I'm good. I'm so excited for this week's show because we got a repeat guest. Rochon's coming back. And oh my gosh. And everything's
nice because we always say to us to come back. And they're so busy that, we get the new ones, but we want to hear more from our guests, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because as much as we like to give them enough time to get everything said, I always feel like they have more to say. And it's nice to be able to have them on there. And I do have a little correction to make on the topic for today's show, because I sometimes make a little goof mistakes. You know me by now, and that's just part of being human. We make mistakes occasionally, and I'm just one of those rare people that actually own up to them. So even on the air. So our topic actually is jumping off the roller coaster of sales, and I think I made the typo in the introductions on the posts. So the social media posts are a little off today, and I'm sorry, that's my fault. So it is jumping off the roller coaster of sales, and it's not helping your clients flourish, though in a way it will, because this topic will relate to that. So anyway, I am super excited, but do we have any top tips? I mean, by the way, how have you been? I know you've been crazy busy lately.
Yeah, I have all my students and clients that started with the fall term. So I have everybody enrolling, so I had to give more time to them. So I'm really sorry if I was not with you last time. But
it happens. And also, we literally switched times, so that makes it a little harder to juggle sometimes, and I get that. And
calendar is okay now. Calendar is okay, and I've prepared my tips.
Top good. I was going to ask you about that. You were reading my mind.
There you go.
So drum roll, please. Go for it.
So today, the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show, we have the top tips of the week.
Mm-hmm. So we forgot to do our normal welcome. So, oh my gosh, we're so behind schedule, guys. I apologize.
People know now. People know us. So they know we are in the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. So welcome back, guys. Mary Mason here. No, Mary Mason here.
We're just being funny today. And Plinny is our co-host for those who are just tuning in, because we sometimes have new people that tune in. So I always like to make sure they know who they're speaking with. And oh my gosh, do we have fun on our show? So buckle up, guys. We are going to give you a whole bunch of great information between us and our guests. And then we're always entertaining. We're always engaging. And at the end, we're going to give you some action steps and some freebies, or some low-cost figures that are just offers that are specifically for people on our show from our guests and from us. So stick around and let's buckle up. So I'm trying to be fun and engaging, and so let's roll with it. So Plinny, would you like to share the top tips? And then let's keep that short and sweet, since we're already a little bit behind schedule today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a tip for you. So today we're going to talk about roller coasters and sales. So I thought about problems on your way when you try to do something. And it's about confidence. So as I'm a confidence coach, that's what I bring to the table. And I have tips for you if a problem arises when you're trying to do something, especially sales or talking to your clients or anything other in your business. So how to solve problems. I have 5 easy steps for you. So pen and paper, ready. Number one, I want to keep it very quick and very easy for you. Very simple. Number one, you want to identify the problem. Keep it simple. Don't say, oh my gosh, is this, that? No. Simple, easy. What's the problem? Go to the core. Number two, you want to believe with all your cells in your body that the problem can be solved. If not, you get frustrated because, oh my gosh, that's impossible. I'm done. And you give up on everything. No, every problem has a solution. So think and believe you can solve it. Number three, desire with all your heart to solve it. This is important. It's not a step to jump from. You need to desire to solve it. A lot of people just goes in there, okay, I have this problem. I wish it was possible. No, desire to solve it. Passion is the key. Number four, believe that there are resources there around you to solve the problem. So have faith. It's not woo-woo stuff. It's literally like every successful person knows that there are resources out there to solve the problem. And when you accept this, those come to you. Something happens. There will be help from other people. You will find help. Maybe you ask for help, but see the resources around you. And number five, implement the resources. Don't stop there. I know you see the solution in front of you. Use and implement the solutions. That's where everybody gets stuck. We have solutions for every problem nowadays, even for free, everywhere. The problem is nobody implements them. Only successful people. So number one, to solve any problem, identify the problem. Number two, believe it's possible to solve it. Number three, desire to solve it with all your heart. Number four, believe there are resources around you. Find them. And number five, implement the resources straight away. Don't wait. Straight away. And you solve your problems. There you go.
That's a good point, especially with the implement. And I think a lot of people are, and I'm sorry if I'm having sound gremlins, guys. So hopefully we can take care of it. Still echoing. Hopefully I fixed it. So long story short, one of the things I have learned is that most people are afraid to implement. And here's the thing. You don't know if it doesn't work if you don't at least try to get it out there. And so don't be afraid of getting it working and going. And I think that's something that I'm willing to, even though I may have a few sound gremlins and internet gremlins and little stuff behind the stages that most people don't realize because we try not to say all of it. But at the same time, we try, fail, and adjust. That's what I'm going to say on that one.
Yeah.
If you don't
you notice, Mary, when people wait too much to implement, the solution don't work anymore sometimes.
Right.
So it's really time sensitive, these things. When you find the solution, just do it straight away. Don't wait.
Exactly.
Maybe it's too late. So that's why it doesn't work, and not because it doesn't work.
Exactly. Well, great tips. We got to bring up our guest. So, and then at the end, we're going to be sharing some of our links. So, welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show again with Marie Mason and the host and our lovely co-host and talented one, Plinny Phoenix. Our guest today is actually going to be Dan Rochon. And, man, I am definitely needing to update some information there. So anyway, he is a visionary and head coach of Greens, Virginia, in the USA. And he's in Virginia. He's up the road from me. And he's also the owner of Greens, Virginia, and founder of Consistent and Predictable Income Community. And today's topic is on, actually, this is the correction I had to sit there and say. It's actually on... I'm going to actually let him reveal that because I think
why not,
that's going to be something new. I want to try to do something different. So let's bring up Dan. Come on down to front and center stage. And sorry to keep you waiting in the background, but welcome.
Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Hi, Plinny. Hi, Marie.
Hi. Yeah. So glad you got to come back and tell us. And you're going to have to reveal that topic for today.
I want that drum roll.
All right.
All
Because
right.
I don't have an actual drum, so we had to improvise.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to be having a conversation about jumping off the roller coaster of sales
Awesome.
and forging your way towards a new success. So what I've noticed is in business and sales is that a big challenge is that people get excited at the beginning and they take lots of action, just like Pliny said, to implement, and then they achieve struggles, and then they fall back down to a valley of despair.
Yeah.
It's that
How
roller
do
coaster.
you?
I think we are familiar with that process. Yeah.
It's
So
like a
we'll be
feast or a
talk- yeah.
famine.
So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about how to get off of that roller coaster of feast and famine.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sounds
And
good.
that is super important because you want to create consistency. Is that correct?
It is, and that's true in any business. And
Yeah.
Pliny, in helping people to be able to speak more better. So I did that on purpose because I know
Yeah.
better.
Things I do, exactly. Yeah.
Right, to be able to enunciate, to be able to help people to alliterate. Well, you sometimes have a lot of business and sometimes you don't, and so if you're helping with marketing, administrative, whatever the case may be, if you're in business, you've probably experienced that valley of despair that I described. And so, how do you get off of that? That's the question of the day.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think everybody listening and watching our broadcast would be really interested on this. Then, is this something that might be connected? And not, we know that it's business. Things can go well sometimes and cannot. It's more how we approach these facts happening. It's life. Do you think it's more about a person ability in business, or it's more about like emotional approach? What did you see with your clients?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, you say the emotional approach is one that the emotional approach is one that I just got distracted by some side conversation there between Maria
Sorry
and
about
Pliny.
that.
That's okay. That's all right. So it's so when you're looking at things that cause us to not have success, oftentimes it is the emotional insecurities, the emotional what are other people thinking about me? How am I being judged? Can I do this? Who am I to do this? These are some of the things that will cause somebody to not implement, to not be in a position to be able to take action. And the reality of it is, if you go into that judgment, and if you're somebody that's listening to this right now and or watching this, and you have that thought, that recurring dialogue within your head that's saying, whatever that negative is, whatever that is, I want to share with you that other people are too intertwined with their lives to actually take the time to actually even judge you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're having that same conversation. So once you understand that they're having that recurring dialogue and they don't have the time to judge you or not judge you, then that gives you the freedom to take massive action and not worry about what the results are. Who cares if you fall on your nose? Because either way, you're not being judged. The only person to judge you is yourself, and the only person that's going to allow for you to have that success is you, and the only person that's going to hold you back is you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's true. Mental ping pong is what stops people from moving forward. Just like we were saying with some of Pliny's tips earlier, just take action. Don't worry about making so many mistakes because you can always try, fail, and adjust. And I've never been afraid to at least try things. It doesn't mean that I haven't been playing that mental ping pong because it took me 3 years to launch my business academy that I've had several coaches say, you should do that. People will need that. And I'm like playing that mental ping pong. Is anybody going to want me to work with me? Because, you know, I know I have the knowledge and experience, but at the same time, when you're first getting started, you don't know that your information is valuable. And so, but I will tell you what I tell everybody, I tell my students, I tell my clients, your knowledge, your skills, and your experience is valuable. You are enough with where you're at, starting at right now, this moment. You can
Yeah.
always add to that, but you have to understand you are enough and you're worth your weight in gold. And I say that to people all the time. And probably even more so depending on what your weight is. But anyway, long story short, so maybe double their weight. But anyway, the point is that's the mentality that I always am sharing with my clients as well as my students, because they have to realize that they're valuable. And would you say that's something that you have come across as well, as people don't understand their value, true value?
I think that it's often that people don't understand what their God-given talent is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people aren't aligned with their true value. Sometimes people put themselves into a box of intending to be something different than what they're destined to be.
That's true.
And my opinion, the fact that I know to be true is that we all have a God-given talent. And when you can figure out what that is in your life, in your business, how in whatever it is that you're intending to be and to do, then you can lean into that talent that you possess and then find others to be able to supplement your weaknesses, which goes back into, we're going to dive deeper into the conversation of how to get off that roller coaster. That is one of the segments of how to get off the roller coaster, is to lean into your God-given talent and then supplement your weaknesses.
That's
great.
great.
Really good.
Yeah, because it's like you are working on giving self-power and self-empowerment to a person, instead of thinking, oh, it's not about me, it's everything that happening to me is not my fault. It's actually getting the power back, because it's actually up to you to how to organize everything and how to respond on something that happens to you.
But we have the opportunity to have ultimate responsibility.
Yeah.
Most people have a personal responsibility, which means I will take responsibility to me showing up on time. Yet, if I'm Marie and I'm the host of this show, and say Dan didn't show up on time, what somebody taking ultimate responsibility, a guest doesn't show up on time, I'm using Marie, you as an example, because I know that you would do this.
I'm the favorite kitty. That's okay.
Well, somebody that takes ultimate responsibility would look to say, okay, what can I do differently moving forward such that never occurs again?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a big nuance of a difference in between saying, yeah, I did everything that I could do and somebody else, screwed me over, or whatever the case may be, or taking a look at the ultimate responsibility of understanding to say, you know what, I have got some DNA into this outcome, whether it was me that did it or not. So what is my DNA in that? And how can I understand to be able to be a better person to get a different result?
And that's where we can make those improvements. And it's funny, because I've had a few people that were late to the show. I mean, one didn't show up till the last 15 or 20 minutes, and I was like having to wing it, and Plinny wasn't there, and it was just one of those awkward days. And I'm like, think I have backup scripts just in case for that purpose. And finally, I had one of my guests on my show, who's also my web developer, was kind enough to reach out to the person and save the day a little bit. But long story short, we've had a few cases, and it was just a learning curve. But that's why I tell people, show up 15 minutes before, check the time zone, make sure it's,
and that's
the right time zone.
Yeah, and that's an example.
Yeah, it's really the attitude.
Yeah.
It's really the attitude that when something happens, you are in the attitude of solving the problem instead of blaming someone because something happened.
Yeah.
And we're
Plinny, you can focus on the problem, or you can focus on the plan.
That's it.
And I focus on the plan. I focus on
Yeah.
the solution, and I'm always solution focused, as Plinny knows. I have plan A, B, and C, and sometimes D in place. So, yeah.
My plan B is Mary.
Plinny, I think your plan B and my plan B is we'll figure it out as we go along, and we'll both figure it out. Mary's going to have plan A to Z mapped out. I think that's the way we roll.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I improvise too. Don't get me wrong. I'm known to be improvising.
Well, because you plan.
Yeah, but it's usually a planned improvise.
Yeah. It's a condition. It's a conditioned reflex, is what it is. When you plan for A, B, C, and D, then you can then you're never going to be cut
without
short.
something. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Is this all this process or getting solution focused and we will figure it out thing part of your CPI method, coaching method?
Yeah, CPI stands for consistent and predictable income. And
you teach that too?
I do. And so if we look at that roller coaster of sales, it's really the inability to be able to have that consistency. And so then you take a look at what is it that causes somebody to not have consistency. And so we can talk a little bit about that before I share with you what to do. I guess I could share with you what you may consider to not do. And what we find is that people that are not able to have consistency are not able to prioritize the most critical activities of a business, and understanding that one domino impacts the next domino, impacts the next domino. So if you just focus on the lead domino, and in business, most typically that's going to be lead generation, which is going to be done through marketing or prospecting. Marketing costs you money, prospecting costs you time. If you're new to business and you got no money, guess what?
You're prospecting.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all about where are you in your business.
Yeah.
So, and that's really what it is. And that will determine what your next step is to take. Is that what you're saying?
It is, absolutely. And so when you're able to focus on that critical activity in the forefront, then you're able to allow for the dominoes to fall. So other things that get in people's way is allowing for other people, for email, for Facebook, for distractions to get in their way. And so once you understand, say, what is that lead domino? Now, how do I eliminate the distractions that are common in my world? And how do I set expectations of others? During the middle of the pandemic, my daughter was at home school and I would have to work. I'm in my basement. And for me to make that work, I would have to communicate to her expectations of, honey, I will be with you at lunch today at noon. And at 12 o'clock, I'm with her. And I'll be with you from noon to 1, and we'll enjoy lunch together. At 6 p.m., I will be with you, and I will not work the rest of the night. And I had to keep that commitment. Now, in return, at the time she was 10 years old, she's now 11. In return, honey, what I need from you is the ability to be able to focus on my work in the other times. So that's a mechanism to be able to keep the distractions at bay, because what you go back to focusing on the problem with the plan, what oftentimes people will say, well, yeah, but I've got a 10-year-old daughter. How can I possibly do that? Because how can I meet her needs? Right. Well, guess what? Her needs are more important than anything else. Yet I also have an understanding of the priority of focusing on my work activity is the first thing to do to be able to serve her needs. And then you communicate expectations, and that's how you allow for those distractions to be at bay.
It's also about boundaries and speaking up.
Yeah,
and not pretending that everybody will do what you want. If you need something, you have to speak up.
Absolutely.
Talk clearly and set boundaries. I see a lot of people, even they come to me with lack of confidence. Sometimes they don't put boundaries.
Right. You set that up front. You set that up front, not
right.
You want to be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, exactly. And you always have to make sure that the boundaries are really clearly and
the kids cooperate more than adults.
Oh, they do. Most of the time.
So
most of the time, you got it. We actually have to go to commercial break, believe it or not. Oh my gosh, can you believe that the first 25 minutes is like almost up? So anyway, let us go to commercial break. So I want to just thank Dan Rochon for sharing valuable tips and helping our audience grow themselves and their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. We will be talking with him some more on the second half of the show, so stick around. And he's agreed to stick around and also answer some of the questions from our audience for those who need to have some wonderful, valuable action steps and some wonderful gifts that will also be shared at the end of the show. So that ends this segment of the show. You're listening to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and co-host, Plinny Phoenix, and we'll be right back. And we're going to a commercial break now.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Marketing Mindset Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry, with your host, Marie Mason. The show is brought to you by Liberty Virtual Solutions. We work with business coaches and speakers to help them market and host their webinars and upsell their coaching programs and develop heart-centered relationships with their audience. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Show with your host, Marie Mason, a premier podcast that helps you master your marketing skills.
Hello. And it's always that music. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. I love our music.
Me too.
We always dance. And I am still with our host, Mary Mason. Here. I'm Plinny Phoenix with you. And with us, down here, there is Dan Rochon. He is a visionary head coach of Greetings Virginia from Virginia, USA. He's the owner of Greetings Virginia and founder of Consistent and Predictable Income Community. And today's topic to help our listeners and watchers is how to get out from the roller coaster of sales. Dane, thank you for coming back in the second part of the show. So we were already talking about this roller coaster and setting the boundaries and be solution focused. So tell us more about this, and let's talk about the process of sales. Or if you want to talk about more problems in the sales or go straight to the solution, what do you think our listeners are ready for?
Well, let's talk about the solutions.
There you go. We're solutions focused. There you are.
That's it. Focus on the plan, not the problem. So
the plan, not the man, right?
There it is. So before applying, you'd introduced us earlier with your five tips, and you were talking about, implementation and belief and desire and understanding that you can solve it and believing in that. And so that's a foundation, which we talked about in the first segment. And now let's talk about some tactical things of what do I actually do. So I've got my mind on right. I know I can do this, or at the very least, I know that somebody before me has done this that I can model. I can emulate. A coach. Yeah. It could be a coach. It could be, I have many coaches that none of them know me. I would call them more mentors, because one of my things that I do is I study success and I look for the clues. And then I intend to emulate that. So tactically, there it is.
We don't have to invent the wheel a second time.
There you go.
It's all out there.
There it is. That's right. So here's what you could do as a sales professional, as a business owner, an entrepreneur. So there's 7 habits that I'd like to share with you.
Sure. Go for it.
First habit would be to seek opportunities daily. Or in other words, lead generate daily. So that could be going back to taking a look at the most critical activities in a business. Typically, the most critical activities in a business are going to be finding customers. It could also be finding employees, partners. It could also be managing your money, focusing on the profit of your business and making certain that there is a profit to a business, because ultimately the business's intention is to provide a profit. And then what you do with that profit could be what drives you in your business. Yet, if you don't make a profit, whatever it is that you're doing this for, you can't do if you don't have money. And so when we go back to that lead generation piece I mentioned earlier, lead generation would be either prospecting or marketing. And to be able to scale a business, you want to get into the marketing phase. To be able to start a business, you would be in the prospecting phase. Now, sometimes you can get investors to help you get into marketing quicker, but marketing is going to cost you money. And that's going to have to be something that you're going to have to manage. And when you look at a business, my pro forma for a business operation is 10% of the gross revenue goes back to marketing. That's one of the numbers in my business, the only number in my business that I'm always, if it's too low, I'm looking to increase it. Every other number in my business, if it's too low, I'm still looking to reduce it. Right? So if it's whatever it may be, electricity, utilities, rent, I'm always looking to sit there and say, how can I save money in the expenses? Marketing budget, which I maintain at 10%, I recommend for you to consider. I mean, each business is different, right? But that's a good rule of thumb. If it's at 10, if it's at 9%, if it's at 7%, that tells me that I'm leaving opportunity on the table.
Okay.
I want to increase that to 10% of the gross revenue so that I can generate more opportunity. The second habit would be to time block. And what you want to time block for is those most critical activities: lead generation, interviewing potential employees, reviewing your financials. You want to put that time into your schedule and then be non-negotiable with it. So the people that I coach, I'm a real estate sales agent, I'm a real estate agent coach. And the people that I coach, I guide them to say, I would rather see you spend 1 hour a day dedicated to finding business, lead generating, than to say, I'm going to do it 3 hours and then do it sporadically and actually do the 1 hour consistently. That's the key to the success of getting off that roller coaster, because what sometimes happens is that you look for business, and then you find it, and then you start servicing the business. And now you no longer are looking for business. And now what happens is you lose a client. Or maybe you have a contract and the contract is done and you fulfilled on whatever it is that you're fulfilling. And now if I spent, say you have a 4-month contract to coach somebody, for example, or consult or whatever the case may be, at the end of that 4 months, guess what? Now I got to go look for clients again. Where if you understand that you focus daily on those tasks, then you'll be able to have that consistency. The third habit that I recommend is to provide massive value to others. So seek to understand how you can help others and don't even worry about what they're going to do in return. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. If somebody asks you to be a guest on a podcast, say yes. I don't know what will come of this. Who knows? I'm not really worried about it. I know that what I can do is I can take some of my God-given talents, share it with you ladies and with your audience, and who knows what comes of that, right? I'm not so concerned about that. What I'm focused on is providing a massive amount of value to the best of my ability. The fourth habit that I recommend is to ask for referrals consistently. Now, I put a little bit of a side table, a little bit of a side thing on that. The right time to ask for a referral is when somebody says, thank you. And I'd like for you to consider to be like Pavlov's dog, so that when somebody says thank you, you instantly respond to you're welcome. And by the way, who else do you know that may need this service? And then share back to them what they're thanking you for, that I could help today. Maybe somebody in your family or somebody that you used to work with, or perhaps somebody you go to church or school with, and ask for that referral. The fifth habit is start early. The sixth habit, we hit down that earlier today, is having the right mindset. And the seventh habit is, you'll be surprised by this, take planned breaks. Because without the planned breaks, you don't have the opportunity to rejuvenate and to come out fresh and to conquer the world and to succeed.
I know something about this because 4 or 5 years ago, I was so like workaholic. I was always working, always looking for opportunities, and then I was not resting. I got like a breakdown, and then my body said, "Are you gonna stop now?" So I'm not gonna go there. So Thank you for sharing the number 7.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I think it has to be planned. In my business, I take a 4-day weekend once a quarter. I take 2 weeks off in the summer.
Yeah.
And then I take 2 weeks off between at the last 2 weeks of December.
Yeah. I
There you
always
go.
built in like the Thanksgiving breaks. I take time off and for my family, and I did bring in Christmas and New Year's, and 1 week in the summer to visit 1 or 2 weeks in the summer to visit my family and
That's
travel and do
great.
something
Yeah.
that. But as far as breaks during the week, I'm still working on that. Plenty knows I work. I'm a workaholic, nonstop. And then, oh my
A lot of
gosh,
entrepreneurs are.
and I think it's because we let the business run us instead of us controlling the business. And with
Now
a little more
the
time,
holidays are the first to go in on my calendar. I start
yeah,
with those. I start with the days that I want free, and then I build my business around it. And now I've seen it works, and I'm not going back again. So
exactly.
start with holidays, then
Yeah.
take appointments.
Anyway, I
They
agree.
were great tips, Mary, weren't
Mhm.
they?
Yeah, really, I love them. And then there's something I wanted to ask about, and it's, hold on a second. I'm trying to go back and
We have a
remind
lot of
myself.
questions. Like we have to choose from something because
Exactly.
then we will stay for days chatting and talking about this.
Right. And then from the part of the sales aspect, and you were talking about in your CTI thing, and I was reading up and before the show earlier in the week, and getting a lot of brainstorm. I tried to do my research on my guests before, even though I've talked to Dan and we know each other for a while. It's always good to brush up and learn about the different people that are going to bring on my show, because I want to ask questions. And I don't know if I don't do the research, I won't have the questions available. So one of the questions that came up was, you had talked about in your CTI method, there's a push and in the sales method, and there's one particular sales method that you use. It's called the persuasion technique. And I was going to ask you, would you mind sharing that technique with our audience?
Yes. So the CPI methodology is for consistent, predictable income. And when you're looking at the persuasion technique, it's first about. So yesterday I was. No, I wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. I met a client, and again, as I mentioned to you, I help people to buy and sell real estate. And she had 9 years ago lost her husband, had passed away unexpectedly, and she even at 9 years has been a long time. She's still in recovery from that, and we all take different times to process different events in our lives. And during the past 9 years, she's made some decisions with the property that probably aren't the best. She's rented it to people that destroyed the property and didn't pay her rent, paid her little rent. And then she recently took the property back a few months ago, and she spent tens of thousands of dollars to renovate it. And now she is going to resell it in or not, she's going to re-rent it and sort of go back to the same patterns that didn't serve her before. When I met with her, I recognized that what the house meant to her wasn't business. It wasn't something that was what it meant to her was a connection to her deceased husband. What it meant to her was a connection there that she didn't want to part with. And even though it's been a significant amount of time, she's still dealing with the grief. And if she was to sell that property, there's a disconnect in between, her connection with her husband. And so I share that story with you, Mary, to allow for you to understand the technique. When I met with her was, and I'll put this in three parts, and I'll share with you how I was able to guide her, is to be in rapport, to ask adept questions, and then to actively listen. So be in rapport, ask adept questions, and actively listen. So when I met with her, I had to immediately meet her where she was at. So I meet somebody who's making bad business decisions that won't serve her, losing money where she could sell the property right now and have about $200,000 in her bank, She's in her later 50s, and that $200,000, she's a hairdresser. So she's working, like, she doesn't have a retirement fund per se. That $200,000 will definitely be helpful to her. And so to be able to make the right decision, I had to meet her where she was at first. I had to be in rapport with her. Then I had to ask her adept questions to be able to guide her to understanding the reality that we weren't talking about a transaction. She approached me to talk to her and guide her about the transaction, but that's not what she needs. Instead, we had a conversation about what the connectivity of the property, what that means to her in her life. And so we met a few days ago, and we decided at the end of the meeting to be able to then say, well, let's, you think about what you want to do. I can help you. I can help you rent this out again. I can help you do the things that may not be in your best interest. I can also help you sell it. So persuasion is about meeting people where they're at and then guiding them towards the future that will best benefit them. See, persuasion is not about what's in it for me. Persuasion's about what's in their best interest. And what oftentimes gets in the way is that emotional turmoil. And that's the case in her case. So when you connect with them and with rapport, with energetically, you can connect with the other person, and then you ask the right questions to guide them down a pathway, and then you actively listen. And the definition of actively listen is really to be in tune with their energy. For example, you ask somebody a question, hey, do you want to do this? And they say, yeah. Well, I hear you saying yes in your words, yet that doesn't sound like that's truly a yes.
So
and if you're not
picking up on what they're not saying is what you're saying, right?
Yes, picking up on what they're not saying and paying attention to their energy.
Yeah.
Because connectivity, human connection is energy. You could be in Italy, you could be in Northern Virginia, you could be in Charlottesville, and you can have a conversation. You could be connected energetically.
Yes.
And you're not even in the same location. The technology allows for us to do that today. And so that is the way to persuade others, is to meet them where they're at and then guide them to where they need to be.
Perfect. Now, and that's what I wanted to hone in on, was that piece of it. Because at the end, we're helping them connect the dots of what they need, right? Is that what we're saying?
Nobody ever is going to contact you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and not have the need of your business. Because if they didn't have the need of your business, you wouldn't be talking to them.
Right. And
so what sometimes gets in the way is that emotional challenge that they may be experiencing. And maybe it's money. Maybe whatever you're charging, is high priced. Well, the reality of that is, if money is an issue in whatever it is that you offer, the real objection is not money. The real objection is one of two things. Either they don't believe that your service, product, or you can help them achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, either solve a problem or achieve a goal, or they don't believe in themselves. Yeah. So it's either they don't believe in you or they don't believe in themselves.
And that's a good point, because one of the things is some of my clients, they might not have, one of the problems I face with them is that they're not always clear on what the solution that they are trying to solve. And so they need clarity on mapping that out too. So that's just another obstacle I found in my discovery of journey of being a business owner and having to work with clients and stuff like that, and helping them to connect the dots to solve their business. And so part of the challenge I found was having them be clear on what it is they're trying to solve for their audience, and making sure that they're clear on that messaging so they can share that message with confidence. Because if you're not confident or you're lacking
Yeah.
confidence, it's usually because you're unclear about something yourself. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Or, is that just far off the left
Yeah,
field?
I've noticed the same too, because I can tell to someone that they're good talking or singing or their voice is fine. If they don't believe it first, can come even a Beyonce or Tony Robbins telling them, "Oh, you're great." They would never believe it. So we need to, as Dan was saying, we need to guide them to go there and see with their own eyes what they can do. It takes time, but it's absolutely achieving. And what you can do eventually is just massive. That's a great thing. That's
Right.
absolutely great.
Well,
I have another question. We are almost at the end. How many?
We got 5 minutes, so if it's something that's a really quick answer question, we could take it, but we really got to go into an action step.
Yeah, I know. I was going to
yeah.
ask Dan to let us and our audience know how they can reach to him, and
Sure.
if you have something for our audience to offer, if you can just present it.
Well, thank you for asking.
You're
So
welcome.
the best place that somebody could find me would be to visit www.danrochon.com. You can also receive directly a free gift from me to you, which will allow for you to be able to find your potential when you visit www.findyourpotential.life. Findyourpotential.life. And I've got a series of mini micro classes on there, master classes that will guide you from A to Z to be able to be the very best version of yourself so that you can achieve the goals that you desire.
I really got to take advantage of that, so thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
last question, then we got to go and end the show. What one sentence or two? What is an action step that you would recommend our audience take in order to apply what you taught them today?
The order of life goes from being and then doing and then having. We talked about all three of those today. So choose to be the very best version of yourself possible. And when you are, and when you make those choices and you have faith in yourself, then implement, do. And when you take massive action, you will have what massive action takers have. So be, do, have is the key ingredient, secret sauce to life.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here. You are always welcome to come back to the show anytime, by the way. We will be continuing our podcast for a long time to come. So anyway, as far as I'm concerned. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You've been such a great guest, as always, and always adding valuable tips to help our audience grow themselves and their business. And today we really had a great topic. So I cannot believe it's the end of the show. It just always seems to go by so fast, Blighty. So anyway, really quick, we want to encourage you to take advantage of his offer and go to and get, and I think you wanted to go to the website as that was today's offer. And this was a website, or did you want them to go and schedule a call?
You can go to findyourpotential.life to be able to access the free classes that I offer. And if you do want to schedule a call, feel free to do so. And you can find me danrochon.com, ROCHON, danrochon.com.
Okay, awesome.
That is
Perfect.
great.
That's a calendar.
Really do it.
Yeah, and I encourage you to. Dan's amazing to talk with, and we've developed a good rapport and friendship over the last year. I think it's been almost. So anyway, or at least the last few months. But you can go and grab those links on their radio station page later on, and also on our YouTube channel as well. And oh my gosh, don't forget to go to the merchandise shop and grab your backpacks for the school year. Because let me tell you, I learned something. Those backpacks don't last forever all year round. They break. So if you need a new one, buy one off our shop and have something unique for the show, for your kids, for the school year. Every $45 backpack, a $5 gift card will be sent to one of our teachers in the U.S., starting in Virginia locally and then moving to other states. So please check out our backpacks. They are really nicely designed. And that's pretty much my plug. And would you like to go to the Liberty Virtual Solutions /shop? You will be able to check out all of our merchandise at the shop. Plinny, would you like to close us out?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dan, for coming back with all your tips. And thank you so much, guys, for listening to us and watching our broadcast. Join us again for next episode. We have a great guest every week. And remember now, our time is 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on W4CY Radio. This is the Marketing Mindset Radio Show. So we'll see you next week. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. So check for Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you next week. From me, Plinny Phoenix, and our host, Mary Mason. See you next week. Bye.
Yes, Dan. Have a good one.
Go to our radio page and check out the gifts from our speakers. We'll see you next time on Marketing Mindset Mastery with your host, Marie Mason.